Former Deputy National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Bode George, has slammed INEC for excluding three major parties, the PDP, Labour Party and the ADC, from upcoming Rivers State House of Assembly by-elections. He calls it a calculated attempt to undermine democracy ahead of 2027. INEC insists only 7 parties met requirements, but the exclusion of heavyweights like PDP, LP and ADC raises serious questions about transparency and due process.
Well, this is not just about Rivers State, it's about the credibility of Nigeria's electoral system. If INEC can exclude major parties from a by-election, what does that say about inclusivity and fairness? And what precedent does this set ahead of the 2027 general elections? Well, this morning we do have a former member of House of Representatives 2025 to 2023 and a member of the ADC, Honorable Sergius Ogun, joins us this morning. It's good to have you here, Honorable.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, as a member of the ADC, how do you interpret INEC's exclusion of your party alongside other parties like Labour Party, the People's Democratic Party, from the State House Assembly by-elections in Rivers State?
Well, like we have always said, INEC is supposed to be independent, and we know they are not independent. It's really going to be worse under this current chairman. And that's why we urge everybody to speak up, because I don't know what reasons they are giving, but you can't have a political party that's registered, that's on ground. I know the chairman of the ADC, and we've had a meeting a couple of times, because considering that we are from the South-South. So I do not know the reasons for excluding them from this election. So, but we need to really hold INEC's feet to fire. INEC, by creation of law, is supposed to be independent. They cannot now be a department under the executive, under Asoro Villa. It's not acceptable. And the unfortunate thing, if they begin to show their legs now, before the 2027 election, has been very, very partial, then people will lose faith, will lose confidence in the 2027 election. I don't know if that's what they are trying to achieve, but we must all tell them or get them to do the right things.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ogun. Let's now bring in our second guest on this panel, Mazi Dickson, Iroegbu, a member of the People's Democratic Party. Good morning to you, Mazi, and thanks for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. Now, Mazi Iroegbu, as a member of the People's Democratic Party, what do you make of the exclusion of your party from the State House of Assembly by-elections in Rivers State? What reasons have been given by INEC for this exclusion, and do you find the reasons tenable? Mazi Iroegbu, we seem to be having some network connections with you, but we'll get back to you in the course of our conversation. Now, let's bring the conversation back to Honorable Sergius Ogun. Do you see, I mean, in your opening submission, you said, you know, INEC is not being independent. The independent in INEC is just a word. Do you see this as a deliberate political suppression or incompetence on the part of the electoral umpire? And what will be their motivation for doing this in the first place?
Well, it's deliberate. This is deliberate. They will give reasons that, of course, but I live in Rivers. Yeah, I mean, I also live in Abuja, and then in Edo State. I know how election is done in Rivers State, especially under the current Minister of the FCT. So, he wants to get absolute, maybe 100% of the outcome of that result. He wants to make sure he dictates that. If you remember in 2023, you will not say APC was a strong party in Rivers State, even though the then Minister of Transportation is from Rivers State. The then the current Minister of FCT was absolutely in charge. For him to swing the entire state for APC, then you know the kind of person he is. He doesn't like competition. If you remember the second time, he almost didn't have anybody competing with him. He was almost the sole candidate in that election. So this is, you can go back and check me. So this is the kind of person he is. And that's why we say, if INEC is truly independent, this should not be happening. This should not be happening. So he wants to have record 100% of the outcome and show it to Mr. President. And I'm afraid that's likely what's going to happen in Abuja here tomorrow. But why should one individual be getting away with all this? Well, this country is bigger than anybody. But to allow these things to happen, it shows that they are eroding whatever achievements we have made in the last few years in building this democracy. And nobody should keep quiet. We should all be speaking up. Because this is how it starts. Check countries where they don't have democracy anymore. This is how it started. That an individual becomes too big for the system.
An individual becomes too big. I mean, you've pointed fingers at the FCT minister, and it only makes one wonder what could have gone wrong. Let's see if we do have Iroegbu joining us again. Mazi, are you there?
So I'm here. Sorry about that, the network.
Okay, great. Great to have you. We just spoke to, Honorable Ogun, who has said this seems like a political orchestration that's meant to cripple his political party so that only the political party that the FCT minister supports and pushes will likely get 100% votes and eventual win. Is there anything that the PDP did not do? Was there any lines that were not dotted? You didn't cross the T's, you didn't dot the I's before INEC, hence why INEC has decided to say you will not participate at the elections, the by-elections in Rivers State. Is there anything that you did not do, PDP did not do rather? When I say you, because you're representative of the PDP as we have this conversation. Is there anything that wasn't done?
Is there anything we didn't do? The system as we have presently is no more about democracy, clearly. What we haven't done is to take to the extreme position that the current administration is pushing everyone to. Because when the likes of Showore started talking about revolution now, it wasn't very clear. But it's clearer now that what may have to play out for this crop of rogue elites in power to cave in will be revolution. Because what the INEC has done by excluding PDP, you could see that intentionally the INEC is provoking all of these extreme ends that we may have to resort to. Because there is no reason whatsoever for INEC to somehow intentionally now be balkanizing political parties, particularly the PDP. What it has done is recognize the illegal group that are parading themselves as members of the PDP. These are a group of people that have been since expelled from the party. But ironically, the INEC that we have today is seen to be hobnobbing with the FCT minister and his group of rascally politicians, because everything that they are doing is an aberration, really. The rascality that the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, has every day continued to show and all of that, it's obvious that the institution is enabling him. The government of the day has seen Nyesom Wike as someone that can be used to disrupt democracy in Nigeria. So I don't see anything that we have done as a political party that will warrant the exclusion that INEC has done, from the forthcoming Rivers election. But it's okay. History is being documented. We hope that now the opposition needs to begin to collapse all walls and build bridges. We need to form the real coalition. It's not by individuals now, but by political parties. The political parties must form the real coalition to ensure that we save democracy in Nigeria. Because the Tinubu administration clearly is not a democratic administration. This is not a democratic government. This is not a democracy anymore. This is more like plutocracy, government of the rich, by the rich, and for the rich. Because everything we're seeing APC do so far under Tinubu administration is to highlight the fact that Nigeria seems to be a huge crime scene, and the people are being used, as guinea pigs in this environment. They don't care about the Nigerian people anymore, and they should watch it, because revolution really may just be the option. Look at the recent,
lots of Mazi Iroegbu, I want you to hold your thoughts for a bit, because we have to go pay some bills now. We still have quite a lot to pack on this conversation. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us. To Breakfast Central, we're currently discussing the exclusion of major opposition political parties from the by-elections in Rivers State, upcoming by-elections. And joining us to discuss this, we have Honorable Sergius Ogun, former member of the House of Representatives. We also have Mazi Dickson, Iroegbu, a member of the People's Democratic Party. Honorable Sergius Ogun, what's the way forward now, and in what ways will your political party register their displeasure with INEC for excluding them from this by-election, so as to prevent such things from happening in the future, and also getting a clear picture on why exactly your party, the ADC, was excluded from from participating in the by-elections?
The party is going to do a formal protest to INEC. I don't have all the reasons why this happened, and I will take it from there. But the truth is, even they had been allowed, I would not have, nothing would have come out of it really, because, like I said, we know the antecedent of the FCT minister in Rivers State. But that should not preclude a process, allowing the process to go through the entire gamut of somebody standing for election and the result being announced. Because I can tell you for free, he would have even feeded his people for ADC. But again, that's neither here nor there. They should not have been disallowed. And you have heard the man said clearly that it's only the party that is supporting the president that will win the FCT elections. And he has said that nobody is not being invited by any security agents or anything. Well, they will tell you they are waiting for the crime to happen before they will proceed on any investigation. I think this man needs to be reined in. He's a good person. I mean, we all used to be in PDP together. He kept the PDP together from when I got into the house in 2015 till almost they started having problems in 2022. So he has capacity to disrupt anything, any space. So like I said, I think the party is going to do a formal protest, but that would be after the fact. Otherwise, you would have said, do a protest and then go to court. But we have all talked about how the judiciary is these days. And then the main election, the 2027 election, by the time the by-election is done in Rivers State, a result announced, and you do a protest to INEC and go to court, before you even get the verdict, that session would have become, it's not like the executive election, where you have to spend the mandatory number of days in office. Parliamentary election, it closes with that tenure. So by the time you go to court and even get judgment, that tenure would have lapsed. So it's very unfortunate, and he knows what he's doing.
Okay, you've said it's very unfortunate, you know what to do. I mean, we're running out of time. Let me come back to you, Mazi. Let's look at the next steps right now. INEC has said these parties have been excluded, your parties are inclusive. The name, the FCT minister, which is Sergius Ogun, has been touted as one who is a very strong contender to deal with, especially looking at the fact that he always mentions that Rivers State is his state. How does the PDP and ADC plan to go through these entire or any other process to ensure that you get answers? Because INEC has a new boss and a new sheriff in town, Professor Joash Amupita. So what are the next steps for you, for the PDP?
Like I was saying earlier, I think this is the time for the opposition, particularly the PDP and the ADC and other political parties who are in the opposition, to collapse the walls and build bridges. We need to realize that we're faced with a common enemy. It's not, it's not more, in fact, it's an open secret that the plot is to foist on the nation a one-party state. And therefore, the opposition needs to get together and form the real coalition. And in fact, also identify with a leader who can be said to be the consensus candidate. Because at this stage now, beyond the by-elections and the forthcoming AMAC election in Abuja here and a few other elections that will happen before the 2027 election, the main focus now should be how do we, save this nation from this crop of ruiners. That's what's important now. I have mentioned that the call for revolution should no more be treated as a treasonable statement. Revolution has to happen, political revolution. We need to come together and form a very strong alliance that can oust this ruining political party. That is the only way out. These people seem to have captured the state, and they don't care. There's no conscience, and there's no plan to respect the rules of the game. They grabbed it, and they want to assert their grip on power, by every means possible. And like I stated earlier, and my colleague has also clearly stated, that Nyesom Wike has become a tool being used to disrupt and possibly end democracy in Nigeria, which every true Democrat should do everything possible to resist, do everything possible to ensure that the plot of this administration is not allowed to come to fruition.
But Mazi Iroegbu, just before we go, I've been able to dig up some information from INEC's resident electoral commissioner in Port Harcourt. He said the PDP did not take part in the required party primaries for the seats in question, which meant it did not properly nominate candidates for the by-elections. The ADC failed to upload its primary election results on INEC's official portal within the stipulated time frame, which is a mandatory procedural requirement. The Labour Party reported that it was embroiled in ongoing litigation and therefore did not complete its nomination process in time. Because of these issues, not meeting deadlines, not conducting or uploading valid primaries or internal legal disputes, INEC said these parties were ineligible to field candidates in the February 21st by-elections for the 2 state assembly seats. On the face of it, it looks quite reasonable, following the guidelines of INEC. They didn't just make this out of the blue. So are these not valid reasons?
As it is, INEC as it is now can cook up any narrative to justify the position they have taken. We saw them, like I stated earlier, hobnobbing with a group of people who have been expelled from the People's Democratic Party. So if INEC can be doing that, then I'm not surprised at the reason they are bringing forward. This particular INEC chairman, the so-called new sheriff in town, I hope he has a plan for himself and for his family. I hope he has a name to protect. But the way it's playing out, he may end up becoming the worst INEC chairman even after Mahmoud Yakubu and co. So I'm not surprised at the excuse they are giving. PDP, by every means, the system is doing everything possible to stifle the chances of the People's Democratic Party forming a focus direction and ensuring that it presents candidates for election. So these other reasons is neither here nor there. Like I said, INEC is directly involved in the balkanization of political parties today as it is in Nigeria. And the plan is to foist on the nation a one-party state, which every true Democrat in the country should rise up against and speak up against.
All right. Mazi Dickson, thank you so much for your time. And also, Honorable Ogun, thanks for your time. Please do well to avail yourselves when we come calling again, because we do know that INEC will possibly have a rejoinder concerning these conversations. But thank you for joining us, and do have a swell weekend.